Daredevil Born Again Season 2 has just wrapped up, and as someone who's a big fan of the original Netflix series, I've been really looking forward to this. For those unaware, Season 1 had a really terrible production timeline where at a certain point, the entire project had to be overhauled by an entirely different team, leading to a Frankenstein season where two visions were clashing, but with Season 2 being handled entirely by the new team, it gave me a lot of hope as did many others. And after the last episode, I have to say this season is interesting? Now, I'm not going to be biased and just instantly write off the series because it's not like the Netflix original like many others. There was some secret sauce in that original series that is probably never going to be found again, except yes it fucking did, but I'll get to that in a second. I already understood with the shortened episode list and the Marvel mandates that wasn't going to be the same, but I was still open to see how the series was going to go, and I'll start with the positives. Firstly, the action and the suit. I will always love the grounded fight scenes in the original, but oh my god, these fight scenes are perfect. It's gotten more comic booky and exaggerated. I still really love how She-Hulk did Daredevil's fight scenes, and while this isn't at that same level for tone reasons, the baton stick thingamajiggies are genuinely some of the best visual weapons that we've seen thus far. It allows for so much visual pizzazz and how the camera can follow it from long range to short range in the span of a second. There were so many times I had my mouth open because of how much the batons were used in such creative ways. And this extends to Bullseye too, but one step at a time here. The action is really fucking good in this series and is the one thing that I enjoy the most. Although if I will say something, the grounded action in the Netflix series did make Bullseye's incredible throwing skills more impactful. Here, they always give some cool camera angles to show his skill, and it's nice, but I do like when the camera just stays still. The other thing I want to praise is the suit. Look at it, it's perfect, it's beautiful, it's physical. He takes that shit off is all I could ask for, and it creates such a distinct raw grunge style that keeps my eyes peeled in the suit no matter what. This costume design is amazing. Except for Bullseye, I seriously don't know why they don't let him show his jawline. Other things I really love are the side characters. They get so much focus, I think even more than Matt himself. And I think Daniel is the highlight here. He gets so much focus into his conflict between Fisk and BB that the scenes where he's just thinking to himself and how much he's fucked have me so locked in. Heather also gets a lot of interesting moments. It's clearly building up to her being the next muse, but you know, that's just build up for next season. This is something the Netflix series did amazingly, and I'm glad season 2 managed to capture that same feeling. Somewhat. Big asterisks. And just like the Netflix series, they do not hesitate on killing side characters, but I actually won't spoil that for you. Episode 5 is probably the best episode in the entire season, and it's mostly because Foggy is in it, and it quite literally shows the team can recreate the exact Netflix feel and vibe, but they choose not to, which fucks me up on a level you do not understand. Not saying the visuals suck entirely, but the fact they know they can do better makes me laugh at night. It's weird. The way this video is titled makes it so my thoughts in this series are complicated, and that's because it is. For all intents and purposes, this is a really good season, far better than season 1, and that season finale is genuinely insane. I love when the actors just get to act without any cuts or anything like that. It's the best part of episode 4, it's the best part of episode 5, and it's the best part here. It's my favorite part of the entire Netflix series. Characters talking. Regardless of the action, I can just watch characters talk and it'll be enough for me to get my eyes glued on. It's just, things are too short, man. This is my biggest point, and take that away from this video. This needs to be longer. I get it, this isn't the Netflix series, but if I could take one thing from that series, it would be the length and episode list. Again, some of my favorite scenes in Daredevil are the times characters get to breathe and talk, and those are also some of my favorite scenes in Born Again. Episode 5 is a clear example of this, as it's literally recreating the exact Netflix feel and even pacing. I like the fact things are constantly happening in this series. I love the stakes and how it feels bombastic with how much shit is going on behind the scenes and in front of the scenes. It's just, can we get that, but also a bit of breathing room? Sometimes it feels like scenes get cut or could be way longer, but maybe that's just my Netflix Daredevil brain hitting. I think of Daredevil season 3 for this exact comparison because it is a season where so many things are happening, but it also manages to squeeze in a lot of breathing room for characters to talk and express their feelings. And it's partially because of the amount of episodes. The acting is so fucking good in this series, and I just wish we had more time with it in terms of talking. I like talking. I like breathing. You guys should try it with me, it's really relaxing. I don't want to give too much shit to Born Again because I want to treat it as separate from the Netflix series, but I do wish it took a couple cues from it, which they've demonstrated they can clearly do, which just makes me more confused. I will say right now, Bullseye was probably the highlight of the series. He sadly does not get to do much, which makes me really sad because every time the focus is on him, I'm intrigued because his whole character is so complex. His morality, his right from wrong, his attachment style and the way he acts, and in the twisted way, learns to accept who he is. It's that finalized version of himself, where he gets to be himself, is terrifying. He's also one of the characters who has a distinct visual style that separates him from the others. When I saw him in season 3, I had no context to who he was, and it wasn't until I saw the Bullseye I was like, holy shit, it's Bullseye! He's a character I oddly relate to in a lot of ways. His compass, his behavior, and I've been planning to make an analysis video on him at some point, and I was hoping season 2 would give me more info to go off of, and it does, but not to the extent I thought it would. I'm too used to the past, I'm sorry. It's a shame he really gets one episode to himself and then becomes an anomaly that pops in and do something. I just want more of a man, and I really feel an extended length could help with that. I just feel so complicated about this. After episode 5, where it emulated the Netflix style, it just made me feel a little sad because I now know they can actually do it, but choose not to? Like, if I were to nitpick something random, it'd be the really good action. On its own, I love it, but when it tries emulating the long take approach, it feels less impactful. The action is amazing, the camera work is amazing, and how he uses the baton is beautiful. But one thing that made those long takes really good was the breathing room. We get little traces of it, but not as enough in the original series, and also not as much as in the first season of Born Again, which did this really well despite the fucking fog machine. The feeling of the long takes, to me at least, was to show Daredevil's endurance because he gets his ass kicked so much in the original series, and time is spent on showing his ability to recover and retaliate in a realistic time frame. It's not the biggest deal, but fuck it, bro, this is my video. Season 2 is some of the best Marvel stuff we've gotten in terms of the superhero genre. I'd still say Wonder Man is the best, but I wouldn't count that as a superhero show, just a really good show. This is the comic book adaptation I love and desire, and regardless of my little nitpicks because I'm attached to the past, it's still something I recommend for anyone to watch. There's some decisions I don't really like, such as Jessica Jones just being shoved in the last few episodes, because I really think she should deserve to be in the entire season, but what do I know about production and TV shows? I'm just a viewer. But just because I'm a viewer doesn't mean I can't have an opinion. I just have to be careful with what I say in regards to what I'm critiquing. I just want things to be longer and take its time. After writing my script, I started going on Twitter and found some posts I really agreed with regarding the pacing. You may have noticed I didn't even talk about the plot because I don't have much to say. It's not bad, but it feels very cool moments happen without explanation, and the explanation you do get is shown for dramatic effect, and also because of the episode length. Or as some people call it, hype moments and aura. A lot of things just happen, and I get it, you don't want to explain every single little thing, but when it comes to shit like mysteries and conspiracies, it would be nice to have some elaboration on certain things. Just talk, bro. Have them talk about their plan. People say it's stupid having it all be laid out, but I want to see how they discuss the plan, how they may have disagreed, had conflicts about it. You can have a whole scene about it. But I can't be attached to the past. I like breathing. Have that be the takeaway for this video. I like breathing. It's really unfortunate that the season 3 news I've gotten was that it's already been recorded and stuff like that, so, I don't know if we can expect, maybe any changes until, like, season 4. Whoops.